Hello and welcome back to Virtual Big Camp. We are live on Facebook as well as live on our website, www.thebigcamp.org.uk. We hope you slept well. It's great to see you back here on Sunday morning. Now we are going to go into our Scouts Own. Our Scouts Own this morning will be about togetherness and community. Okay, let's see what it has in store. This is obviously multi-faith, just like the Scouting organisation. So we hope you enjoy and maybe learn something.
Well, hello guys, you've timed that brilliantly well. I could do with a hand actually. I'm trying to put up this tent in my back garden and it's always a bit of a challenge to do it by yourself, isn't it? So do you want to grab an end and give us a hand? Well, actually I wish you could, but that's part of the problem at the moment, isn't it? We're forced to be apart from one another. This weekend we should be in Harrogate at the Great Yorkshire Showground. There should be loads of tents. We should all be running around having all kinds of fun with each other. And now we're stuck at home. Some of us without even a chance perhaps to get out in the garden. My kids tried camping out here the other night and a fox came and terrorised them. And they got so scared at 1 o'clock in the morning that they came running inside. They weren't prepared for that one. Often, you know, in religious traditions, there are stories of how people are taken away from what they know in order to find God. You know, sometimes they're taken into exile, taken away as prisoners by people. And what they discover is that God is with them, away from the promised land, away from what they know best. In that strange place, they find that God nevertheless is there, that God is with them in the strange and the unfamiliar. Well, this summer, when we should be together in all kinds of places, doing all kinds of different things, we're forced to stay at home for our own safety. We're surrounded by people who are out there working at the front line in order that we might remain safe and well. There's lots to give thanks for amidst all of the challenges. But it is still tricky to be stuck at home, isn't it? Several weeks into this lockdown. Rather than being taken away from what we know best, we're actually stuck with what we know best. And yet, as we are stuck in the places that we know well, maybe there are things for us to discover, things for us to learn about ourselves and other people. Perhaps things that we normally take for granted, to stop and to reflect and to be a bit more grateful for some of the simpler things in life. If, like me, you're missing people, it reminds us of just how lucky we are to be surrounded by people who care for us, who love us, people that we have fun with. And there's lots to think about when we can reconnect with each other, how we'll perhaps relate to one another differently. We won't take for granted time with mates in the future, I'm sure. So as we're forced to be stuck at home, I wonder what things we might learn, what things we might reflect on. It's not as much fun as camping out there with your mates on a showground, is it? But there are still nevertheless things for us to reflect on, things for us to learn, and to discover God in the familiar places as well as the unfamiliar places. The thing about most religions is that they teach us that God is always with us. Wherever we find ourselves, he is there, revealing his love to us and calling us to explore more of that love and to find ways to show that. I don't know about you, but I often find it hardest to be the kind of person I want to be when I'm at home with the people who know me best. Sometimes it's easier to do that when I'm in church, when I've got my dress on and doing all the things that I do for a living. It's a bit harder to do that at home. And maybe that's part of the challenge and the adventure for us in these days, is to find ways to be ourselves, really ourselves, our best selves, amongst those who are closest to us. Well, God wants to help us with that. The God who is with us wants to give us the strength, the courage, the wisdom, the patience to be more ourselves, even in the most familiar of places. So wherever you are today, I pray that something of God's love might be real to you, that something of God's love would refresh you as yet we face yet another week of being at home, and that something of God's love would give you the courage and the determination to be more the person you want to be, more the person whom God created you to be. Anyway, enough of talking. Grab a corner and let's get this tent up. All right.
1, 2, 3. You with the sad eyes, don't be discouraged. Oh, I realize it's hard to take courage in a world full of people. You can lose sight of it all, and the darkness inside of you can make you feel so small. And I see your true colors shining through. Yeah, I see your true colors. That's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show. Your true colors are beautiful, oh, like a rainbow. Show me a smile then. Don't be unhappy. Can't remember when I last saw you laughing. This world makes you crazy. You're taking all that you can bear. Just call me up, 'cause I'll always be there. And I see your true colors shining through. Yeah, I see your true colors. That's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show. Your true colors are beautiful, oh, like a rainbow. Yeah, I see your true colors shining through. I see your true colors shining through. I see your true colors shining through. Yeah, I see your true colors. That's why I love you. So don't be afraid, oh, don't let them show. Your true colors are beautiful, oh, like a rainbow. Oh, like a rainbow. Oh, like a rainbow.
Right then, so now we'll be moving on, carrying on with that theme of community and togetherness, but taking it global. Yes, wise global. From our friends around the world, we have a poem for you. Then we'll move on to a piece about Ramadan, closer to home, by some of our scouts in West Yorkshire.
It's something different, yet very small, but with lots of sound. This is the sound of the world.
Listened to the whispers in the wind, the hush through the trees, the hum of the crickets, the rustling of leaves, the sound of life all around us.
It's something different, yet very small, but with lots of sound. This is the sound of the world.
Have you listened? Listen to the laughter among friends, the talk of the elder, the footsteps of the children, the drone of speech. The sound of life is within us. and throughout us to make the most beautiful sound.
It's something very different, yet very small, but with lots of sounds. This is the sounds of the world.
Listen to the rain pitter-patter to the floor, the sun shining bright, the clouds that fill the sky, the thunder, the rainbow that comes after the storm.
It's something different, yet very small, but with lots of sound. This is the sound of the world.
Listen to the scouts around the world, the friendship between them, the belief, the respect and integrity. This scouting family. This is the sound of the world.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
Hey, where are you off to? What's the rush?
I'm going up the hill to see the Ramadan moon.
Wow, but is it happening tonight? Will you see it tonight?
Yeah, I think so.
Can we come with you?
Yeah, sure, come along.
Okay.
Muslims use the lunar calendar. This means our calendar is based on the moon. The months begin with the new moon. Ramadan is the 9th month of our calendar. So, what exactly is Ramadan? Ramadan is one of the fundamentals of Islam. It is a time for spiritual reflection, self-improvement and worship. It is a special time for us because it is when the first words of our holy book, the Quran, were revealed. We are encouraged to read and reflect upon the Quran during Ramadan and spend a portion of our day doing this. Most importantly, Ramadan is a month in which Muslims fast. We have to fast when we are old enough, roughly around 14 years old. Children can if they want to and usually practice fasting before they have to.
Look, I can see it.
Oh, wow, so can I.
Tomorrow we're going to fast.
Now Ramadan has started and the moon has just been sighted. Tomorrow we all fast. Every Muslim must. Now Isha time is here and it's time to leave for prayer. The Imam is in the mosque. The Quran is in his heart.
At night, we have a big communal prayer known as Tarawih. Tarawih is either prayed in the mosque or at home, and Tarawih is only read in the month of Ramadan. Due to the current situations this year, everyone is praying at home. Muslims start their fast with a pre-dawn meal known as suhoor or sahri. But before we continue, what is fasting? For us, fasting means not eating or drinking from sunrise till sunset. Not even water.
Why do Muslims fast? We fast because it is an act of worship, much like prayer. Fasting teaches us self-control, along with not eating and drinking. We abstain from negativity, including swearing, gossiping, and fighting. The last 10 days are the most special, and some Muslims spend these days living in the mosque or segregating themselves at home to increase their prayers and closeness to Allah. We are encouraged to detach from the world and focus on our prayers. Many Muslims pray more during Ramadan than any other time of the year to get close to Allah. For Muslims, this month is like a spiritual boost, which helps us throughout the year.
Only 10 days are left, praying every night. Dressed all in white, hands held high, with tears in his eyes, asking for forgiveness and paradise.
It encourages us to remember those who are less fortunate than us and become more empathetic. During Ramadan, Muslims increase in charity and feed the poor. Ramadan is a month of unity and giving. Quite often, just before the break of fast, you will find Muslims going to their neighbours and friends' house to share food with them. Continue with our normal routine during the day. Adults will go to work and children will go to school. Whilst in school, I found that non-Muslims who know I am fasting will ask me questions when they are curious, and I am very happy to explain. Then we often stay up late praying and take a nap in the afternoon, so don't come knocking on our door then.
During Ramadan, some scouting groups don't run sessions so that we can focus on our fasts. Usually, we host an iftar under the stars. This year, we are taking part virtually. Every Saturday, we have also set activities for our scouts to do at home.
The early break of dawn, we go the whole day long. Shops are full of days, but still we have to wait till the sun goes down, and it's time to break a siyam. The food is on the plate. Ooh, it tastes so good.
Fast at sunset with a meal called iftari. This marks the end of a fasting day.
To see the see the Ramadan moon tonight.
It's Amina Shawwal.
That means it's Eid tomorrow.
Eid Mubarak.
Eid Mubarak.
See you tomorrow for Eid.
Inshallah.
Now we're going to pass over to a piece that I filmed earlier in the week with Tim Kidd OBE. And he is the UK Chief Commissioner, and we're talking about community togetherness and some of the aspects that Scout HQ have brought in. Hello, Tim, and welcome to Virtual Big Camp. It is great to have you here as part of our Scouts Own this morning on Sunday. How are you doing?
I'm doing absolutely brilliant. Hello, Toby. It's been brilliant to join you, and I hope it's been going really well so far. Are you having fun?
We are. We've had over 60 activities to do on our website, and we've had our live feed running both on Saturday and Sunday. So what I'm
no faults with your live feed. Everything's gone perfectly well.
Of course, our technical team are working hard behind the scenes to do that.
Absolutely.
So, Tim, this morning I thought I'd ask you a few questions about community and togetherness, our theme of the Scout Zone this morning. So, first of all, I think it's important to bring up our Million Hands project as part of HQ, looking at main themes including protecting the environment, ending homelessness, supporting refugees and displaced children, better mental health for all, understanding disability, and kindness in the community. Now, one of our main focuses in West Yorkshire Scouts is Mind the Gap resource that we brought out that's available on our website, www.yscouts.org.uk. Tim, what sort of projects have you been involved with to do with Million Hands?
Well, the first thing that I was involved with was the launch of it all in Parliament, which was really exciting. There's been launches in the Wales Parliament, in Scotland as well, so there's been launches around the UK. What's been really interesting, I think, is that these are themes that have been chosen by young people and that really resonate with our times right now. And you couldn't choose a better one than spreading kindness. That's just an astonishingly good thing to be doing now. And one thing I would say for everybody is it's not just about being kind to other people, but it's also about being kind to yourself. Taking some time to work out what works for you. And these are very unusual times. They're very strange and they give us some great opportunities, but they also present a few challenges along the way. And I think kindness is one of the watchwords that we really, really should think about. And it resonates so well with our Scout values, particularly when we talk about having self-respect and respect for others. I think in these times we need to take more time to just pause and think about that, because it gets a bit pressured and it's all a bit odd. And there's been some brilliant activities being undertaken by young people all over the UK and working with other charities who are expert in these areas to bring all this stuff to life. So well done everybody, and everybody in Y Scouts as well. I'm sure you've all been doing all your stuff that works so well in our Million Hands projects.
Brilliant. We certainly have. So would it be fair to say that you've been taking some time to reflect on everything that's been going on, Tim?
Yeah, it's really interesting because I think it's easy not to if you're not careful, right? At the start of this, I stupidly thought, well, people will have a bit more time because, you know, you can't go out, you can't go to work, you can't do this, you can't do that. And actually, the reality is it feels more pressured. You know, and if you're one of our fantastic 160,000 adult volunteers around the UK right now, you're juggling morning till night, connected to screens, talking to people at work if you're still working, or you're furloughed, or your job was gone. So there's all pressures with that. Then you might be homeschooling people, youngsters as well. So there's pressure with that, and no one knows how to do it. We're all finding our way, and nothing's perfect. And suddenly you have much less time than ever. So one of the things that's been really important for me was to take some advice that I've seen from young people on social media when we were doing our 3 for 3 campaign and saying, what 3 things would you suggest to other people they might do to help themselves and help others right now? Reaching out to people has never been more important. So I've picked up a few things and I've seen some really good advice. So one is for me not to spend all my time focused on the news, because to be frank, the news is pretty well saying the same thing from morning till night, again and again and again. And so I limit myself and I focus on one bit of it and then carry on with the rest of my time. I choose someone at random in my telephone most days and phone them up for no reason other than to see where the conversation goes. And I think it's funny. I'm not sure if they do, but I think it's quite amusing, and it's a nice way of just making a link and making a connection to people. And I've not been so good, but I've been trying to go outside. I've seen sometimes I've been days inside the house, and there is something, and it's in our scouting DNA, isn't it, about touching the outdoors, about not being confined within walls. And I think that's really important. And the thing that I've seen most of all, when we're thinking about how we are ourselves, I've joined loads of scout groups having their video calls, and I've seen some astonishing connections between people. And it does look to me like we genuinely hold hands across the video screen. It feels like that when youngsters get together and talk about what they've done in the week, and they connect together to talk a bit about the badge work and the things that they've done to help the community. And it's been absolutely astonishing and quite frankly astounding that our leaders have done what they've done, and that our young people have so willingly done some bonkers stuff that people have suggested.
Yeah, definitely. And that walk to the moon, obviously. Hike to the moon. Sorry, not walk to the moon. What am I doing?
Well, hike to the moon was astonishing, wasn't it?
It was really good.
When we started it, you thought, well, it's a good idea. 11 people walked on the moon have been scouts heavily, and people have joined in with that in lots of ways. So they can be in mission control. They don't have to be doing the hiking if that wasn't their thing. People have walked. I thought, would we make the number or not? And the first few days it was sort of slow, and the reason it was slow is because leaders were organising their beavers and their cubs and their scouts and explorers to do things, sort of coordinated as it turned out. And then we got to the night itself of the broadcast, and it just went whoosh. And I was, along with a lot of my colleagues in Team UK, and I guess a lot of you as well, were refreshing the screen on the Just Giving bit to see how far we got. And folks, we got to the moon. And we got back. That's just astonishing, really is. Over £300,000 raised. The money from the badges, over £25,000 raised. So actually that goes into that as well. And all that is matched by the government. So more than £600,000 raised by us doing some really nonsense things. And I think there might have been a UK shortage of tinfoil. The amount of people I saw on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram who had fashioned tinfoil space helmets was just nobody's business. So I think we might be single-handedly responsible for a tinfoil shortage. So yeah, that was great, wasn't it?
Brilliant. It was great to see our scouting community really coming together and connecting in part of a big project. Yeah, now, the next big project that the Scout headquarters has just launched is Care for Care Homes. Over the next few weeks, the Scout headquarters are asking young people to collectively take part in 10,000 acts of kindness to help residents in their local care homes, which will be really brilliant to reduce loneliness and improve mental well-being of the people living in care homes. Will you be doing an act of kindness, Tim?
Well, I think the best act of kindness I could do is to stop doing what I did as a child. As a child, at the age of 6, 7, 8, and 9, my grandmother used to take me into the local care home, and I would sing to the residents because they had no way of escaping. So you sort of kind of think I might do something better than that this time. And certainly I'll be seeing what the local groups around me do. I think there are a number of really important points about this. The first is that we're not saying everybody has to do this. This is about if you have capacity, if you've got the time and you're near a care home to think about, give them a ring and check. Because I think if you're a care home, you probably don't want, 50,000 postcards arriving one day, because that wouldn't be very helpful. So we're asking people to check with the local homes. And also some of them have carers who work in the community, so they're peripatetic, wander around, do stuff, and it might be that they can take things that also help older people who might be a bit more isolated as well. And so people can do really nice things. I've seen some astonishing artwork already across Twitter and Facebook and Instagram that our youngsters have been putting up in windows. So some artwork that could be sent might be the sort of thing to do, or making a video, having a video call. There is really an interesting connection, I think, across the generational gap, where very young people with older people have a really interesting connection. It's like us as children with our grandparents, where there's something intriguing and different and really interesting to explore. So I hope people will, if they have the chance, do that. And we're asking people to log their acts of kindness so we can say how much kindness we've released into the UK in this period. So if you have a chance, do have a go. But as ever, it's an optional thing that we think might be really useful to do, and that we hope will spread some kindness and also help people who might be feeling a little bit vulnerable and isolated right now. And you might also spread some kindness in the same way to your family, maybe your cousins that you haven't seen for a while, those sorts of things as well. So take it broadly, folks.
And the full information for that campaign can be found at www.scouts.org.uk, and it has of course been shared on all our social media platforms last week. So make sure you keep a lookout on that and follow obviously all our social media platforms. We have Instagram, Twitter and Facebook, and we'd love to stay connected with West Yorkshire Scouts. Even if you're not part of West Yorkshire, we'd love to connect with all the counties out there and across the world, just like our international friends in their video.
So Toby, though, I mean, you didn't mention TikTok.
I did not mention TikTok, no. Now, that's funny you should say, because Katie did launch yesterday as part of her Scout and Explorer Hour, an activity all to do with TikTok. So we will be collecting them in. Make sure you hashtag Wise Scouts, because we'd love to see those. And of course, our youth commissioners have launched their TikToks as well that'll be joining. So make sure you're hashtagging Wise Scouts in that, because we'd love to see your videos if you're still making them, if you haven't already. Tim, are you going to check those out?
Yeah, I've just signed up for TikTok, and it's a bit mind-bending. I'm not sure I've entirely quite got the scam yet, but there are stuff, just to tell everybody, just to warn you, there are things you can find there that are hilarious, and 3 hours later, you'll suddenly realise that that's how long you've been sitting looking at them. There are some astonishing things there, and as ever, as Scouts, we can use it as a platform for spreading good news, cheer, and connecting people.
And those acts of kindness can be displayed via TikTok as well. That would be another great platform.
I want to see them set to music. I just want to see that. That's got to be good, hasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Just a reminder that the TikTok app is for 12 plus. We do not encourage, obviously, anyone younger than that to download the app without the parental consent. Right then, Tim, thank you ever so much for joining us today. It's been great to have you at Virtual Big Camp on Facebook and live on www.thebigcamp.org.uk. Will you be joining us at Big Camp, same place, same time, just 2021?
Well, do you know what? I'm expecting an invitation. I came to Big Camp, I think, twice before, and I've read stories to Beaver Scouts, and it would be great to actually meet people again. So well done for organising this for this year, and next year, let's hope we'll be able to be a little bit closer in reality.
Yeah, definitely. And it's going to be bigger and better. So just so you watch out, we'll get you doing all sorts of crazy things, Tim. I dread to think what we're coming up with for you.
Yeah, so do I.
All right. Thank you, Tim. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Now I'm going to pass over to Katie Travis. She is fantastic, and she is also the ACC for Explorers for West Yorkshire. Take it away, Katie.
An elderly Chinese woman had two large pots, each hung at the end of a pole which she carried on the back of her neck. One of the pots had a crack in, while the other was perfect and always delivered a full portion of water. At the end of a long walk from the house to the stream, the cracked pot arrived only half full. For 2 full years, this went on daily, with the woman bringing home only 1.5 pots of water. Of course, the perfect pot was proud of its accomplishments, but the poor cracked pot was ashamed of its imperfections and miserable that it could only do half the job that it was made to do. After 2 years of what it perceived to be bitter failure, it spoke to the woman one day at the stream. I am ashamed of myself because this crack in my side causes water to leak out all the way to our house. The old woman smiled. Did you not notice that the flowers are on your side of the path, but they are not on the other side? This is because I have always known of your flaws. So I planted flowering seeds on your side of the path, and every day we walk home and you water them. For 2 years, I've been able to pick these beautiful flowers to decorate the table. Without you being just the way you are, there would not be this beauty to grace our house. Each of us has our own unique flaws, but it is the cracks and flaws we each have that make our lives together so very interesting and rewarding. You've just got to take each person for what they are and look for the good in them. My belief is that we're put into this world of wonder and beauty with a special ability to appreciate them. In some cases, to have the fun of taking a hand in developing them, and also in being able to help other people instead of overreaching them. And through it all, to enjoy life, that is, to be happy.
Your true colors are beautiful, oh, like a rainbow, oh, like a rainbow. Oh, like a rainbow.
Was that not just amazing? Happy Eid Mubarak to all our Muslim scouts out there. I hope you're enjoying this very special weekend.